Welcome back, everybody, to the Reboot. We got a good one for you guys today. I got my guy, my co-host, David. David, what's happening, player?
Jordan, we are living, my friend, living. Everything is fantastic. I'm very excited to be back here with you for another episode of the Reboot, a tie-breaking episode of
That's
the
right.
Reboot.
It's going down.
It is going to go down. But before it goes down, we have to introduce my lifelong best friend, one of my favorite people in the entire world, and our guest judge today, the one and only Michael Kerman. Mike, how you doing, big dog?
Doing great, gentlemen. It is a pleasure to see you both. Miss you both dearly.
Yes,
Mike, I miss you.
Too.
I miss you as well, Mike. It's good to see you, brother.
Great to see you too, Mr. Jordan.
Still waiting on my invite to the wedding. Checked my mailbox today. Didn't see it, but hey, we'll see.
And we just for the record, we just passed, I believe, Mike and his lovely wife's 6-year wedding anniversary. Is that do I have that math right?
That is correct. And I think Jordan's going to come to the bicentennial. So a little bit of time, but he will be there.
Well, I think I at least deserve an invitation to the anniversary of the engagement.
Yeah.
I think I'm owed that.
I think that's fair.
Yes, you are definitely owed that.
I am owed an invitation to the anniversary party.
Yeah, you were my first. You were my first engagement. So
that's right.
We have the video evidence.
That's a little bit of Reboot lore for people who are listening or watching. When Mike was getting ready to propose to his now wife, and he wanted to do a dry run and make sure everything was going to be good, who was the stand-in but the one and only Jordan Bell? So, you guys have a bond. You guys definitely have a bond. Please, Michael, do not let that impact your judging today. Okay. Just because Jordan was your first, we're going to assess our Reboot. Get out of here, Jordan. We're going to assess the Reboot on the merits of the ideas. Okay. Good.
Yes. Sounds good. I'm putting on my executive hat.
Excellent.
Totally objective.
Yes. Do not let our lifetime of friendship and all of the countless memories that we have together, definitely don't let those influence your decision at all.
Shameless.
Yeah.
People.
Well, listen, it's got to start early. You can't suck up the whole episode if you don't start right away. So with that, you all know what the format is. Jordan and I are each going to kick an idea of a Reboot, and Mike's going to pick one that's going to be the best, that he thinks is the best. And today we're, in addition to being excited to have Michael on, we're very excited to talk about one of the three of us, our favorite movies. And I would argue maybe one of the best baseball and childhood movies ever made, the classic, The Sandlot. We're going to be rebooting The Sandlot today. Shouts to Mike for a great suggestion on that one. And I think, with that, we're going to kick it off like we normally do with our quick elevator pitches. And Jordan, I've been talking a lot so far, so I'm going to kick it to you to introduce your idea to big fancy executive Michael.
Yes. All right. So for my reboots of The Sandlot, I've decided to go with a sequel, and my movie is going to be titled Sandlot Next Generation. Oof. And here is my elevator pitch. When 10-year-old Billy and his two friends witness Mookie Betts make a Game 7 catch at Dodger Stadium, it sparks a dream to bring back to their Compton neighborhood baseball. Both no local team and no coach, their only hope lies in Kenny DeNunez, the former Sandlot legend turned mechanic. As the boys fight to revive a long-forgotten youth team called the Heaters, they must overcome real-life obstacles, rival neighborhoods, and their own doubts.
I love it. That sounds incredible. Anytime we get a real-life Mookie Betts shout-out, it's got to be good. And a real fun fact that, Jordan, you did not know about beforehand. You couldn't have known this, but Michael and I played on a team called the Heaters when we were youths ourselves. Yes, one of our travel ball teams was called the Heaters. So you're drawing from real life and you don't even know it.
Well,
there it is.
Ooh,
yes,
yeah.
Yes, on brand, very on brand, Mike. Well done.
At the end of the original, when they say, this guy did this did this, they said Kenny, the pitcher, he coached a baseball team called the Heaters. So we're not exactly getting into the same thing, but we're playing off that a little bit.
I like it. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, can't wait to hear about that. Well, my sequel, because I'm also doing a sequel to The Sandlot, is going to be titled Sandlot 95. And we're going to be taking the very end of the original Sandlot, where we get a nice little collage of what everyone ends up doing with their life. But we really end it with Benny the Jet Rodriguez stealing home at Dodger Stadium as the one and only Smalls. Scotty Smalls is on the mic calling the game. We're going to pick right up from there, getting into the off season of that MLB season. And we're going to be following not only Benny the Jet and Smalls, but their two sons, who are also aspiring baseball players playing for their travel ball team together. Diego Rodriguez and Jack Smalls, their two kids. And we are going to follow the trials and tribulations that come along with something, again, that Mike and I are very familiar with, playing travel baseball in Southern California and all the joys and sorrows and heartbreak and fun that comes along with that. Sandlot 95. Baseball brings you together, but growing up is what keeps you there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I've worked hard on that tagline. So I hope you guys really appreciate that. That was from my plums right there. All right. I think we got two sequels. Always fun when we have the same type of reboot going up against each other. Before we dive in, Mike, any questions or thoughts before we start?
I get no questions right now. I do have some thoughts, but I don't know if I should save those for as we get a little further along. But Just generally speaking, two very strong elevator pitches. Love the taglines, and I think it's fascinating that both of you played off the end of the movie, and where you kind of go from where do you go from there? So I think it both make a lot of sense. Both are very interesting. I think that you guys both have funny little one-liners for each, and I'm excited to hear Act 1, 2, and 3.
Mike, it's okay to say that mine was better. You can say that. You can say that now.
He's saving it. He's saving it. He just said he's saving it. And we have plenty of time for your ideas to be great, Jordan. But with that, get us going on that great idea. Let's hear Act 1.
All right, here we go. Act 1 of Sandlot, Next Generation. So Act 1 opens with the movie at Dodger Stadium during a Sunday afternoon game. There are 3 young black boys sitting in the stands with their baseball gloves on and a woman sitting with them. The 3 young kids are Billy, Russell, and Cam, and these kids love some baseball. Miss Jenkins, Billy's mother, won 4 free tickets at her job and took the boys to the game. For Billy and his friends, it's their first time at Dodger Stadium. Billy idolizes Mookie Betts and has been dying for a chance to see him play. It's the top of the 9th, and the Dodgers need one more out to secure the win. Suddenly, a deep fly ball is hit to left field where the boys are sitting, and just as the ball is about to clear the fence, Mookie stretches out and grabs it. The boys are overjoyed with the excitement, and Mookie, recognizing a little bit of himself in the kids, throws the ball to Billy before walking off the field. In the car ride home, they pass multiple baseball fields with kids playing and having fun. Billy asks his mom why he and his friends don't play baseball in the summertime like the other kids. Ms. Jenkins replies that Compton has recently cut the funding to the local baseball programs because they couldn't find a coach to coach the team. The next day, Billy, Russell, and Cam are riding bikes through the neighborhood when Cam asks the boys if they ever heard of the Heaters. Now, the Heaters was Compton's youth baseball team back in the day that used to win all of the city tournaments. They were coached by a guy who played minor league baseball. After his sons got too old to play, he stopped coaching, and all the kids in the neighborhood switched to football and basketball, and eventually, Compton stopped having youth baseball. Billy goes home that night and asks his mom if she's ever heard of the Heaters and if she's ever heard of this coach. She tells him that the coach was a guy named Kenny De Nunez from the Sandlot 1, and she knew him well back in the day. She knows that he now owns a mechanic shop not far from where they live, but he hasn't coached baseball in years. In Act 1.
Ooh. All right. Scene setting. We're really setting the scene for this.
Dun, dun, dun.
We already had our Mookie cameo, so everything's great.
Shouts out to Mook.
Shouts out to Mook, the man. All right, fantastic. Well done. All right, I'll jump into my first act of Sandlot 95, which you may have guessed takes place in 1995. In 1995, Benny the Jet Rodriguez is getting towards the end of his playing career. We hear at the end of the first Sandlot, some people say the Jet has lost a step or two. that's becoming more and more apparent. He's definitely not quite the player he used to be, but he's trying to hang on and squeeze out a couple more years in the show. Meanwhile, Smalls has become the beloved radio broadcast announcer for the Dodgers. And these two guys have maintained their friendship that we saw developed in the first movie. They've been lifelong friends together. Their shared love of baseball, but really their shared love of the Sandlot, of discovering the game and learning the game together. That's very much evident in their relationship. In the offseason of being a Major League Baseball player, Benny the Jet likes to help out and coach his son, Diego's travel ball team. Scotty's son, Jack Smalls, also plays on this same team. This team is going to be located in Ladera Heights here in Los Angeles, not too far away from where I live. And the team that they play on is scrappy. And that's intentional because even though Benny the Jet's had a very successful career, he and Smalls both really believe in the idea of playing the game for the love of the game. So their team doesn't have the high-end gear. Their team plays on a field that doesn't get dragged very often, but they want to make sure that every kid that's out there is playing for the love of the game. The LA Quakes is what their team name is. Little shout out for LA's favorite natural disaster. So on this team, the LA Quakes, we see that Diego, like his father, is electric. He is an incredible athlete. He's got it all out there on the field. And like his father, Jack Smalls is scrappy. He's a contact hitter. He puts the ball in play. He's the guy that might lay a bunt down every once in a while. And we see in the beginning of this movie, as we kind of learn the team a little bit, that they're starting to develop a friendship. And we see that at practice. We see that as their dads talk to each other. But then we have a couple scenes of them starting to play catch with each other at night after practice when they don't really need to, but they're starting to like each other. They're starting to become real friends. They're finding this love of the game together in these kind of late night catch sessions where they can kind of be preteens together and start to learn, what life's all about. So we've established our team, LA Quakes, good vibes, but really so far it's just been for funsies. That all changes when, via Benny's contacts, he secures an invite to a very exclusive tournament being hosted in Malibu, California. And for those of our listeners and viewers who have never been to Malibu, California, Malibu High School has a baseball field that is right on the water. It overlooks the Pacific Ocean. It's a totally beautiful setup. That's where this tournament is going to be held, a world apart from what the LA Quakes are used to doing. And this tournament is not only at a beautiful field, it's being hosted by the West Side Wolves. And the West Side Wolves are everything that the Quakes are not. The West Side Wolves are smug, rich kids. Every kid has the newest gear, the $500 bat, the cleats that click clack when they walk all the way out to the field. These kids kind of suck. If you've ever played travel ball as a kid, you know this type of team, and they're not that fun because they will beat you and then they will rub your face in it. And the head honcho of the West Side Wolves is Chase Duncan, who is whatever you're picturing in your head as a smarmy little 12-year-old kid who thinks he's hot shit. That's Chase Duncan. Now, the Quakes accept this invite knowing that they're outmatched probably, right? On paper, this is a little bit of a mismatch. But Benny, coaching in the offseason along with Scotty Smalls, tells them paper doesn't win ball games, hearts do. End of Act 1.
I hate Chase Duncan already.
How can you not?
Ugh.
How can you not hate Chase Duncan? Everyone knows a Chase Duncan, and they all suck.
100%.
They all suck. All right. Well, we've set the scene a little bit about what our movies are going to be focused on. Mike, lay it on us. What questions do you have? What thoughts do you have?
So many thoughts. Not too many questions. Honestly, I'm like getting lost in the stories. I think they're very interesting, and I'm definitely getting some vibes from Jordan specifically on another great baseball movie that I think flies way under the radar, but Hardball with Keanu Reeves.
Great movie.
There are definitely some hardball similarities for sure.
R.I.P.G. baby.
God, yeah, too soon, Dave. Too soon.
Yeah, fair. I'm sorry I even brought it up. You're right. Yeah, great movie though. Good call.
And then I think with yours, Dave. It's interesting because I definitely can relate a lot to the people that you're describing in my own experience. I think the West Side Wolves is just a horrific name for a shit team.
West Side?
but like we know those kids, we know
Sure.
those parents. My one question, I guess, for you is, if Benny is a coach,
Yeah.
he's on the Dodgers. So in theory, like the team that he's coaching, like has like the kids on the West Side Wolves want to play for Benny, right? Because he's like a star versus like Chase, who's just like the guy who played maybe in college and like thinks he's the man, but like it's just like compare that against someone actually on the Dodgers.
Right.
I don't want to play for the guy on the Dodgers. I don't care
Right.
if Chase is like the man. He's not the man if you're playing with the guy on the Dodgers, So that was something that kind of occurred to me that I just think would be interesting to hear as we continue your pitch. And I'm also very interested to hear the what goes on with Jordan and the kids as they, do they show up to the shop? How do they convince Kenny to get back into the mix? Seems like he might have been out for a few years, after his sons stopped playing. So what are they going to do to convince Kenny to come back? I don't know, but I look forward to hearing about it.
Outstanding.
All of those questions are going to be answered for you.
That's right. Just you wait. And I will say before, Jordan, you dive into Act 2, because Mike, it's a great point, and I didn't do a great job of explaining it. I pictured Benny's role with the travel ball team. He can't coach when he's obviously playing, and he's really at this point not a superstar by any means, and I think kind of viewed generally as like way past his prime, and hasn't been as involved with the team leading up to this as now he's kind of asserting himself to be. So maybe like the other teams, especially a team as far away as Malibu, doesn't really know much about the background of the team. So we don't have that kind of like allure of like, oh, there's a Dodger player coaching on this team. It's more like, oh, Benny's kid plays on this team. Oh, Benny's at the game today. That kind of vibe. Because I think that's a very good call out. Very good point.
Yeah, I mean that changes everything. Obviously.
Yes, good. I hoped it would. I hoped it would.
One more question before we keep going.
Yeah.
Was Malibu where you actually proposed to your wife after fake proposing to me in Beverly Hills?
It was out in that direction. Yeah.
Not too far.
Wasn't the ploy like,
yes?
Well, we want to take Jordan to Malibu because he's never been.
That is correct. That is exactly what
good
happened.
Memory. Very good memory. That's impressive, Jordan.
But we didn't end up going to Malibu.
We did not.
That's right. That's
hilarious. The Easter eggs just continue to tumble out in this episode. We love
again.
it.
Still waiting on my invitation, but I'll settle for a win.
Now who's shameless? Yeah. Now who's shameless? All right, Jordan, get us into Act 2, brother.
Act 2. Here we go. All right. Yeah. Act 2, Next Generation. So the next morning, Billy rides his bike into town and finds a mechanic shop named Hercules Mechanics. Inside the shop, we see old pictures of famous baseball players, kids playing baseball, and a pitcher playing minor league baseball. Then Kenny walks out from the back room and asks Billy how he can help him. Billy asked if he's Coach Kenny. Kenny hasn't been called Coach Kenny in years. Kenny replies, I used to be Coach Kenny, but now I'm just a mechanic. Billy tells Kenny that he and his friends love baseball and they need someone to coach him. Kenny admires his effort, but tells him that he's lost passion for the game ever since his sons outgrew it. And he tells Billy that he's welcome to come by anytime to talk some baseball, but he won't be coaching anytime soon. So Billy, disappointed, hops on his bike, rides home, tells his mom what happened at the mechanic shop, and proceeds to go play ball with his friends. Now, later that night, Miss Jenkins drives over to Coach Kenny's house. Like I said earlier, the two of them knew each other growing up. She tells Kenny that the boys in the neighborhood need a strong male role model around, and that ever since Coach Kenny stopped coaching, his presence has been missed in the neighborhood. Kenny asks her to stay for a drink, but she insists that she needs to get back home. The next day, Billy, Cam, and Russ are at the local field playing catch, and suddenly, Kenny and 5 other boys and 1 girl show up at the field. Brandon, Evan, Patrick, Nick, and Mary are all Kenny's nieces and nephews. Kenny tells Billy and his buddies that if they're serious about playing baseball, they've now got enough for a team, and the Heaters can officially come back into the youth league. Billy and his friends are full of joy, and they bike home. They've now got an official team. But on their way home, they run into another group of kids from Crenshaw. and all of these kids are already wearing their youth baseball gear. Crenshaw has dominated the local baseball scene ever since Compton's program ran out of money. Kevin, the leader of the team, is considered to be the best youth baseball player in the area. Kevin tells Billy and the rest of the Heaters that although they may have the best coach in the area, there will be no competition for them when they face off at the end of the season. End Act 2.
Crenshaw sounds hard, bro. They sound like no joke.
Crenshaw's ready to ball.
Crenshaw's always ready to ball.
Think 11-year-old Spencer James from All-American.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Wow, the deep cuts continue because Mike actually went to high school with the gentleman that All-American is based on.
Spencer wrote it. Yeah.
Yes, that's right, Spencer.
Nice.
Yeah. So Jordan, you're tapping on all of Mike's buttons right now. I love it. Very impressive.
Hercules mechanics, very nice.
Thank you. Good catch, Mike.
Yeah,
intentional,
nice.
Unintentional, we'll never know. But Mike.
No, we know. Yeah, I think we know. Yeah, we know.
Mike,
Yeah. Good call out on Hercules. I love that one as well. All right, cool. So Act 2 of Sandlot 95 is us at the tournament. All right, this tournament in Malibu has started. Benny is there. He's coaching with Smalls, and their sons are out there playing. And the Quakes come out strong, and they win their first game, but it's a gritty win. Diego is a star. He steals home to win the ball game. But the thing about Diego is that he's amazing, but he has that little bit of ego that goes along with a really, really talented player, where he doesn't just want to win. He wants to showboat a little bit. He wants to talk his stuff and kind of be the star on the team. Jack Smalls is scrappy, team-oriented, and starts to push back after this win. Diego gets a little bit full of himself after he wins this game and starts yelling at the other team. And in public, Jack Smalls comes out and kind of chastises him, says, that's not how we do it. And we just see a little bit of tension there. We see a little bit of tension where Diego's like, you only won because of me. Why are you telling me how I should or shouldn't celebrate? I don't like that. So no blow up yet, but there's a little bit of that tension there. Meanwhile, we get a little bit more context for Benny and Scotty's relationship. So Benny is, like I said, towards the end of his career. We're into the offseason. His contract situation is a little bit up in the air. And Scotty Smalls, the radio broadcaster, also hosts a podcast. Hey, just like a couple other good-looking guys. And on his podcast, he basically kind of alludes to the fact that Benny might be time to hang it up. Might be time for Benny to shut it down, and there might not be a place for him on the Dodgers or in the league anymore. And we see that kind of come to a head after this game as well, as the kids are fighting or having a little bit of beef. We see that Scotty and Benny are having a little bit of tension as well. And that Benny says, it's easy for you to talk like this. You've never had to steal home in real life. You've never had to do what I've been able to do on the baseball diamond. And we see that they have these kind of unspoken differences that have kind of been simmering under the surface that we're now kind of seeing come out a little bit more. But everybody says, you know what? We won the ball game. We're going to move on in this tournament. We're going to keep on cruising. Next game does not go the Quakes' way. Everything that can go wrong seems to go wrong. Their catcher rolls his ankle on a play at the plate. Jack Smalls strikes out 3 times, has a horrible day at the plate. But Benny has a really good game. I keep saying Benny, I mean Diego. Diego has a really good game. Diego's still a star player. And when the game ends, we see his frustrations really boil over. Why am I the only one doing this? Why am I the only one who can carry this team? Specifically calls out Jack for striking out 3 times. You're letting the team down when you're supposed to be a team guy. And Diego kind of storms off. We see him just leave. And next to the field that the West Side Wolves are playing on up in Malibu, there's some batting cages. And he figures, I'm going to go hit. I'm going to take some swings. I'm going to get some of this aggression out, let myself cool down. But when he enters the cage, he's approached by the one and only Chase Duncan, who doesn't get angry at Diego. He says, why are you playing with these guys? Why are you playing with these clowns? We're harnessing you bob for apples in the toilet and like it kind of energy from the first movie from these guys. And Chase basically says, why don't you come to our team where there's real coaching, there's real gear, and you have a real future to be a player independent of your dad. You don't have to rely on your dad to be a great player. You're a great player. You should come play with us. And Diego doesn't tell him to screw off. Diego listens and actually has to think about it. He's coming off this horrible loss. He's like, you know what? Maybe I will. But you know what? I'm just going to get my swings in. And as he's getting his swings in, gets a little bit of his aggression out, starts to cool down. And as he's looking to exit the cage, he sees a group of the wolves all talking shit, bless you, about our guys, about the Quakes, specifically about Jack Smalls and what a loser he is and what a non-athletic guy he is and lots of mean things. And instead of giving in to his anger and frustration, Diego has a light go off in his head and says, you know what? These guys are my friends. This is my team. I'm going to ride with my team. And that night, when everyone's back home, we see Diego go over to Jack Smalls' house, and he has his glove and he has 2 Cokes, and he says, let's play catch, just like we used to, just like we fell in love with the game together doing. And from there, we see the next day, before the big game is going to happen in the tournament, the big final game, that Benny and Scotty Smalls also get to make peace with each other. And Scott apologizes for talking out of turn and speaking on things he doesn't really understand. And Benny says, I apologize too. And I'm a little bit worried about Diego because I don't want him to let his talent overtake who he is. I want him to be a person first before he's a talented baseball player. As we have our reconciliation with the Quakes and our families, we look to the other dugout of this championship game, and who else could they be playing but the West Side Wolves? End of Act 2.
West Side?
West Side.
West Side, the double W's.
Double dubs. Double dubs.
Dub square, West Side Wolves.
Correct. And, you know, there's a lot of good, I think, analogies or, you know, references for the West Side Wolves in my mind, but to go to another fantastic youth sports movie, you can picture like the Iceland team from D2, the Mighty Ducks. They're big, they're strong, they're mean, they're cocky. And now our Quakes have to take them down in the championship game.
Dave, not to spoil our next movie that we're doing next month, but this your script here reminds me a little bit of what some of the dilemmas that our characters face in next month's movie.
Oh, look at that for a tease. We're already teasing next episode. I love it. Fantastic. Well,
because we plan ahead here.
We do plan ahead. Content. Yeah. We're good planners. We have a schedule. But with that, Mike, you've heard 2 acts of our stories here. What are you thinking?
I have. I'll start with yours just because you just finished. But yeah,
racism.
Not trying to respond to that. I think that I like the story. You know, it feels a little bit manufactured, the drama to me between like this, like it's just so reflective. The sons are dealing with exactly the same stuff as the dads, but they're supposed to be like really good friends. And you know, I don't know, Scotty Smalls. I don't know if he'd make that kind of comment out of turn unless there was other stuff going on there. You know,
maybe there is,
right? Which I think is would be an interesting storyline to go down of, like, you know, maybe it's a lifelong sort of jealousy of Benny and his success that has kind of blown up in this moment of like just seeing him time and time again get all the credit, but Scotty's been there the whole time. So I think that's interesting. Also, the West Side Wolves coach approaching the kid, like that's definitely something that, you know, would happen. But if his dad, if Benny's part of the coaching staff, like, and you know, these kids are how old ish?
12, 13, you know, that range.
Right. So like he needs his dad's permission to do anything.
Sure. Sure.
So going to him and be like, you know, like Diego can go to Benny and say, Dad, I don't want to play for this team. I don't want to play for these guys. But like, he'd have a better chance approaching Benny, which I think could also be a very interesting thing. Like if he's like trying to bond with his dad or something at the cages, you know, and then the coach approaches Benny and Benny like tells Diego to like shoo, like, you know, like the men are talking, like that could be an interesting sort of dilemma drama to play with. I think it's very interesting with a lot of potential. I think the storylines between, again, it's like the mirroring is throwing me off a little bit because I think it might just be a little bit too much.
Sure.
But still, but good. But just
very, very fair criticism from Mike today. I like
absolutely, absolutely. And really, you're right. Of course, in reality, I think it wouldn't be a kid. The intention behind that was kind of to really double or triple down on the insidious nature of the wolves, which is, before we go to Benny, I want to plant the seed, in Diego's mind that this is what he wants to do, and then we can cross that bridge, of officially doing it. But absolutely fair points. Absolutely.
Yeah, I almost imagine, like sort of the conniving nature of Chase doing something like that. But like when we talk about insidious, that makes me think like he's going to tell one of his players to like cleat Diego in the next game. Which maybe we'll get into in Act 3.
Well, don't jump ahead now. Yeah.
And to Next Generation, I thought the references were on point, as we mentioned during the sort of the
thank you, sir.
Break. I thought the references were on point. I really liked the story. What I think is two things stood out to me that I didn't think fit as well, which is one, the mom going to Kenny, like what's their relationship that she can go that like instantly changes his mind. Like that I thought was so so I don't know, but like that kind of struck me because it's Billy, right? Billy is the kid.
Billy's the main kid.
Yeah, so Billy goes and like basically like lays it all out there. Like we need somebody, we need a coach, and he's like, I'm good. Like, I'm not. I'm not like, sorry, kid. Like, go fuck yourself. And then the mom like goes later that night, and then the next day, Kenny shows up with like five other kids. Like, we got a team now. So like, what is that conversation? Why does she have that kind of power? And I think what you had her saying, which is like, they need a strong role model. I think that's really powerful stuff. But is it powerful enough to get the guy who's like, I'm not doing it for years to flip over in like an hour or like, within a day? So that kind of stood out. I think that the kids in Crenshaw, I think that's really interesting. I think it's cool, but I don't know, like, are they in a place to talk shit right out of the gate? Because they know they're the best team. Like, why are they saying like, we're going to beat your ass? It doesn't matter if you have the best coach. Like, are they even old enough to know Coach Kenny? Like, how long has he been out of the game? So would they even say you have the best coach, or do they think that they have the best coach and they have, all the swag basically? Because if I'm on a team that exists and then I see kids pulling up who like don't even have uniforms yet, am I going to talk shit to them? That'd be really dick move. Right?
They get down in Crenshaw, dog. They talk shit to whoever they want to talk shit to.
Yeah, maybe.
Have you seen All American? There's some shit talkers over there.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that kind of stuck out to me, and the last thing that stuck out to me was like his son's kids. Like his grandparents, basically, like all five of them just like suddenly want to play baseball. Like, and I thought something to think about was maybe when the mom.
No, they're his nieces and nephews. So Kenny has brothers and sisters theoretically.
Okay, got you. So like, let's just say family for a second.
Yeah, family.
So something that might be interesting is when the mom goes over, she has this heart to heart, and he says like, look, I hear you, like, but like, no, like, I'm not going to do it. And she leaves, and then maybe you cut to his like, nephew or niece who was like listening on the whole conversation, like right around the door, right? Who like comes out and is like, oh, Kenny or Grandpa Kenny or like, hey, like, why don't you, and that's like the thing that like goes, oh, like, this is important to my family, which is why I got into this in the first place, which like reinvigorates my passion. But like showing up with five kids out of the blue, that threw me off. Like, where he just recruited these kids to fucking play baseball, and they just kind of poofed out of nowhere.
He just found them, dog.
Yeah.
Hey, you five.
Yeah. You guys look good. Yeah, come on. Yeah.
They thought they were going to go play basketball, so he really had them to
good recruiting. Very good recruiting. Yeah.
I guess technically, it's six. It's 6 kids because you need 9 to play baseball, so 6. Yeah. I may have said 5, but
Yes, it is. I thought you were playing with 8. I thought it was a bold choice.
No.
Scrappy, real scrappy
6.
team playing
My
with 8.
apologies. My apologies. 6 kids.
So, but yeah, but I really generally like the idea a lot. I think it's really cool. So yeah, let's hear Act 3.
All right. Act 3 begins with a montage of Kenny, Bill, and the team playing games throughout the summer. Now, the team struggles at first. It's their first time playing organized baseball. And Coach Kenny's hard on them, pushing them after every game and every practice to be the absolute best they can be. Suddenly, the kids aren't having that much fun playing baseball. After a practice where Kenny is rough on the players, Miss Jenkins pulls him to the side. She tells him she remembers when Kenny first moved to Compton and how he used to talk all the time about this place called the Sandlot, where he played baseball every single day with his friends during the summer, which eventually led to Kenny chasing a career in the pros. She reminds Kenny that these kids are the same age he was before he moved, and that these kids want to play baseball because they love the game and want to have fun, not because they're trying to go pro. That night, Kenny goes home and looks through his old photo albums and sees pictures of him and the original crew from Sandlot with Hercules right beside him. He realizes that he has to make the game fun again. So the next day, Kenny shows up to practice, but instead of bringing a bunch of balls, he brings a bunch of water balloons, water guns, and other water toys, and the kids play and have fun all day, showing the kids that the most important thing that they need is to play the game with love, and that eventually winning will follow. After that, there's another montage of the Heaters beginning to turn their season around. All of a sudden, the kids are winning and having fun. All of this leads up to the final game of the season against Crenshaw. It's an intense game that leads to Billy being at bat with 2 outs and the bases loaded. With a 3-2 count, Billy swings and hits a deep fly ball to center field, but the ball is caught right before it gets to the fence by the one and only Kevin. After the game, Coach Kenny gives one of his all-time speeches about how proud he is of that team and how they taught him how to love the game again after he stopped loving it when he didn't make it to the big show. Billy rides home that night with his mom after the game with a big smile on his face. He just had the best summer of his life, and he plans to have plenty more like it. End Act 3.
Wow.
Very nice.
I like want some like nice music to be playing in the background right there. That was beautiful. All right, well done, Jordan. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Nicely done. All right, Act 3 of Sandlot 95 to bring you back. We're in Malibu. We're about to face off against the West Side bastard wolves, who everyone hates. But Diego and Jack, Benny, and Scotty are on the same page again. Everyone's excited. They show up to the game, and immediately the Wolves are talking shit about their gear, feeling like these guys don't really deserve to be there, all the usual stuff. The game starts, and from the first pitch, it's a battle, right? It's going to be a hard-fought game. We can tell right away. And we get a nice little montage of the first 6 innings of the game, which it's kind of tapping into some of those scenes from the first movie, which are some of my favorite scenes ever, of just kids playing baseball, having a good time on the field. But this doesn't have that same nostalgic twinge. This is a hard-fought, competitive game. And we're seeing everybody do what they're known for. Diego is balling. He's playing shortstop. He's making diving plays. He's firing the ball across. Diego hits a home run earlier in the game. Chase Duncan, little bastard, comes out, also hits a home run, bat flip, calling out the pitcher, the whole thing. And we're seeing it go back and forth. We see Jack Smalls wear a pitch, gets hit by a pitch, but that's who he is. He's a scrappy little kid, and he'll do whatever he needs to do for the team. So we get into the 7th inning, the final inning of a Little League baseball game. And we see that Diego is getting ready to get to hit. And he gets a hit. He gets on base. He steals second. And as he steals second, Chase Duncan, who's playing shortstop for the Wolves, fields the throw and swipes a tag down on Diego. But as anyone who's played baseball knows, there's a way to tag a guy, and then there's a way to tag a guy when you're trying to hurt him a little bit. And this is the second one. And Chase gives Diego a real bop on the head. Diego's down. Everyone's out of the dugout, calling for something to happen. Umpires do nothing. They say, Diego, are you good? Can you keep playing? And he says, yes, I can keep playing. So he gets on second base. 2 outs, 7th inning. And who comes to the dish but the one and only Jack Smalls? And Jack, we've seen him get hit by a pitch. We know that he's kind of a scrappy contact hitter. Diego leads off second. Him and Jack make eye contact in a bond that only 2 best friends could have. And they give each other the look. And we don't know exactly what that means yet. But we find out that very shortly because Diego takes off, tries to steal third base. As the pitch comes in, Jack Smalls does one of the scrappiest things you can do, lays down the bunt with 2 outs, surprising the Wolves. Diego rounds third hard, slides in at home, safe. LA Quakes have won the tournament. Mass hysteria. Everyone's excited. Scotty and Benny give each other a big hug. They are lifelong best friends, despite any lingering resentments that may have been there. Whatever Scotty might have said, that's all in the past now. Their boys just won the big game together and are forming a relationship that they have themselves. Game ends. Chase Duncan reluctantly comes over and shakes Diego's hand, apologizes for what he did on the field, and says, even though you're not going to join our team, we're all going to be rooting for you because we know that you're going places. So a little bit of humility, a little bit of humanization of the West Side Wolves. Again, similar to the Icelandic team, Gunner shaking the hand of the Ducks at the end of D2, that kind of energy. And at the end of the game, Benny and Scotty are talking to the team. They say, what do you guys want to do? You guys just won the big tournament. You know, we're going to get pizza. What are we going to do together as a team? And Jack and Diego and everyone else on the team says, all we want to do is go back to our field back in Ladera Heights so that we can go have fun together and go play more baseball. And we finished the movie with a la in the first movie when the kids are playing under the fireworks of the 4th of July, the true essence of what this really means and why it's meaningful. There's no coaches, there's no umpires. It's just their team out on the field having fun together as kids playing baseball. And Scotty Smalls looks to Benny, says, you think these kids are going to remember this? And Benny says, forever. End of Act 3. Alternate tagline at the end of the movie, growing up is hard, playing ball makes it easier.
David tugging at the heartstrings.
Gots to. I mean, what I didn't say in Act 1, which I meant to kind of, for the whole thing, kind of color it, is like so much of what makes the first Sandlot great is this like nostalgic energy, right? And that one takes place in the 50s or 60s, an era that none of us were really alive for. But I want this movie to evoke those same types of feelings for anybody that grew up or played baseball in the 90s, because it's a little bit more of a new age feel to the tournament and the way that all works. But at the end of the day, it's the same love, it's the same passion, it's the same friendships that are made through the beautiful game.
I don't know about you, but I got emotional rewatching it. Like that movie, it gets me. There's something about there's something about the way that movie captures what it's like to be a kid a year or two before you start worrying about shit that doesn't matter, if that makes sense. Yeah. Right? Like you're right in that sweet spot of the only thing you care about is how much fun you can have. And you're old enough to have an expanded imagination, but you're young enough to not rationalize all of the shit that you're doing, right? So like it's a little extreme, right? All these contraptions that they come up with to get this ball away from the dog, and the dog is this monster. But man, when you're a kid, that's how it feels. Like that shit is so real. I loved this was a fun one. I loved this. I loved rewatching the movie, and I loved trying to come up with something, a new spin on it. This was a fun one.
I agree. That was very well said. I want all those emotions to apply to my movie. That's what I was going for right there. So well said, Jordan. But awesome. Those are our movies. So Mike, you've heard all 3 acts. You're about to render a verdict here and let us know which one you're going to pick to green light. But before you do, final thoughts or questions?
Yeah, I think I don't think I have any questions, but in terms of final thoughts, both concepts are really good for kind of different reasons, and both you sort of elicit different types of emotions, but kind of along the same path.
Yeah.
And very impressive that you guys were able to come up with like such cool, unique takes on such a classic movie, because it like, yeah, for everything you guys just said is so true. Like, and I think Jordan really hit it on the head. Like it's right, it's teetering that line between you're old enough to kind of like know what's going on, but young enough where like you don't really care yet.
Yeah.
And I think that the beast, like at that time in their lives, like their biggest problem was retrieving a baseball from a dog that they thought was a monster, who when you actually see it, you're like, oh, it's just a big dog.
Yeah, it's just a bull mastiff. It's just a very sweet bull mastiff.
Yeah, like it's like it's a most dogs like balls. Like it's not,
Right.
but
Yep.
but like using their imagination and come up with all these things. Like that was their summer. It was like that was the hardest thing they had to do, was have fun with their friends.
I forgot about the scene where they all take dip.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the best. Yeah,
Yes.
And as a kid, the first time I watched that movie, I didn't totally understand what they were doing.
Sure,
right?
me neither.
for sure.
So I'm like, is it booze? Like, what is that? You know what I mean?
It's hard booze. Yeah, it's
Hard booze. That's
Hard
right.
booze.
Physical booze. Yeah.
Right. So, and then they all yak on the
Yeah.
Ferris wheel. I forgot all
Tequila,
about that scene.
one of the greatest soundtracks ever.
Like I
Absolutely.
didn't understand what dipping was when I watched that movie.
No,
So
sure.
it's a great one. That's a classic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's also I think it takes place in the 60s.
Yeah.
And like the cost of the baseball are like $1, right?
It's like 98. They're like, how are we gonna get 98 cents for another ball?
Yeah, right. So it's really cool. I like what you guys did with your concept, with your ideas. I am going to go, drum roll please. I'm going to go with Sandlot Next Generation. I'm going to go with Sandlot Next Generation for a couple reasons. One, I think it's a super unique take on the story of baseball and like youth and challenge and overcoming. And I loved that the ending, like Billy's ball gets caught by the star of the other team. Like that's not what I was expecting. And I thought that was a really cool twist on stuff, because the message isn't really about winning. It's about these kids who are kind of new to the game, like falling in love with it. And no better show of that is than like Billy, who just lost the championship or like the last game, on his way home in his mom's car, who played a big role in this, smiling. So like I think that image was really powerful for me. I really like that. Yeah, and look, I think like there's a lot of montages. There's a lot of montages.
It's a sports movie. There's a lot of montages.
Got to cram them in there, man. Yeah, you got to make it happen.
Montages in sports movies.
But that's the thing, like the kids, and I coached a high school team that was like brand new, and like these kids had never played before, and it's really tough. Like if you've never played before, and as a coach, you definitely want to ride them hard. So I can certainly relate to Kenny kind of having that kind of approach and realizing at some point, like shit, like I'm making this about me and like what I think it should be versus them just having a good time, which is ultimately what it's really about. So I thought that the like water stuff day, like water guns, balloons, like all that kind of stuff was like kind of like fun and added a little bit of like comedy to it, I guess, of like just kind of joy and fun. And then they like that leads to them being better like on the field, which is cool. So yeah, I like the setting. I like them playing in Compton. I played in Compton for an entire summer, which you may or may not have known about.
I don't know if I knew that about you, Mike, but
yes.
knowing you and knowing how tough and hardcore you are, it doesn't surprise me.
I played in Compton on a collegiate team for a whole summer, actually.
Okay.
And it was great. And like a lot of the kids I played with were from Compton, Inglewood, South Central. And then there was just me, which was kind of hilarious looking. But it was a great experience. So it was kind of cool because I could really imagine where these kids were and like the neighborhood where they were playing. And so I'm going to go with yours. Dave, I liked, and one thing I didn't like also, I will say, Jordan, is I think we can do better on the name. I think it like Sandlot Next Generation. I actually really like Sandlot 95.
Okay.
I think
it's not too late to switch your vote. You know, I mean, we're here, you know, like
judgment has been rendered. The gavel has struck.
Yes,
that's right. That's right.
But I think like, because it's so much more than like the next generation. I just think like there's so much to unpack there. Like Next Generation, I feel it doesn't do it justice.
Okay.
So it's not that I don't like the name. It's just I think that there's
a little bit more meat on that bone.
Yes. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't have the answer, but like just based on the story you told, I think there's something else there.
An hour ago, it was Sandlot 2, and then I remixed it to the Next Generation. So,
well, it's a better remix for sure.
Yeah, you would have been even more disappointed with Sandlot 2.
Good decision.
And then for Sandlot 95, I think it's cool, and it's just. I just felt more normal to me because I have lived that life like quite literally. So it's not like it turned me off or anything. It was just, I kind of like, I knew there was like, I literally said in act 2, like someone's going to hurt someone in act 3. Like I was anticipating where I thought the story was going to go. Because I know what that devious little shit would do. And I know that we grew up around the same stuff, so like I think I know how you think in that way, so it's easier to kind of predict how I think it's going. I knew he was going to bunt. I knew he would likely be safe at home, and I was actually surprised. I thought it would be. I kind of wanted you to lean in to Chase being like a full on dip.
Like, not apologizing at the end.
No apologizing, no handshake, just like fuck you, Dad. Like let's get out of here and go.
Sure. I went for a real. So 2 things on that. I am heartbroken, but also respect the decision. Jordan, it was a great story. I totally get it.
My friend.
I leaned into the real touchy feelies, you know, the super, super positive, fun ending, including Chase, you know, conceding and not being a total dick. And I went back and forth about whether Diego was going to be safe or out at home, because part of me was thinking, kind of like Jordan, you know, you ended up doing in yours, there's something even more pure about them losing and then them still wanting to go out to the field and play, you know, and for the love of the game, keep doing it. But I did end up going with just the more like Disney-fied, I guess, you know, kind of happy ending all the way around, which, to my detriment, it turns out. But
I guess there's no easy way to say this, Dave, but I guess you just chose wrong.
It would appear that way.
You made a bad decision.
I made a bad decision.
No, it's cool. I mean, look, and that's the thing. Like sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I think just like the whole arc of Jordan's story led to like the message is like we're just doing this to have fun.
Yeah,
and I think even Miss Jenkins said at one point, like these kids are not trying to play pro.
Right.
Like they're just trying to play with their friends. They're trying to have a good time and like play the game. So it all connected really nicely. I felt, and then with your story, like Diego and Jack wanting to go back to a field after they've just played however long in the tournament, I just find that to be very unlikely.
For the love of the game, Mike. For the love of the game.
Man, we both love the game. I don't know how much energy we've had after like a 2-day tournament. And like, there's no chance that my parents were ever going to like it. Like, we're going home. We drove your ass around all weekend.
Yes. We're suspending disbelief on tiredness and overall schedules for this one. But
I can only give you so much, Dave, before I must take it away.
Listen, that as is your right as the big fancy movie executive. Well, I have to say, firstly, thank you, Mike, for doing this. You were a phenomenal guest judge. It's almost like having professional content producers on as judges leads to really insightful comments and notes. So thank you. It was a pleasure having you, and Jordan, begrudgingly, congratulations.
3-2, baby.
Yeah,
3-2.
You are now winning on the season. But you know what? There's a lot more reboots.
We're at the halfway mark. We're going to 10.
Yeah, there's a lot more reboots to come. And I look forward to getting back on the horse, as it were, on our next one. But yeah, why don't you take us out of here, Jordan?
Yeah, so like you said, man, Mike, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. And this is always fun. This is one of the most fun podcasts that we have on Good People Content. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. We appreciate everybody that listens. And until next time, my name is Jordan. My co-host is David. Our special guest is Mike. We appreciate everybody tuning in. We're out of here. Peace.
Thanks, everybody.